but it's not a
Punch-
real
punching buttons.
friendship. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to make friends. Well, we've had this discussion, especially about in Minnesota. It's like people haven't known you since high school. They don't want to know you. Kind of a weird thing, but yeah. And the busy thing. So busy.
Yeah, it isn't just busy here.
No, it's not just
There's
busy.
another characteristic as well.
That's why I
Are
like this
you
group so
are
much.
you a native?
Oh, yes. Oh,
Yes,
Oh,
okay.
yes.
You are too.
Right in the middle of the
Yeah.
city. I never, a farm, the word was hardly, it was
In
all
there.
over the blackboards, of course, and
But-
the animals were all around, but
Not for you.
not in my head.
I know,
There was streetcars, and I lived a block from Loring Park, so I
Oh,
went down there and
my.
learned to skate with the boys next door, taught me how to skate, and walked to the library, walked to Walker Art Center, and
Oh, wow.
took the streetcar to Stillwater, but never a farm.
You know that I didn't even know there was a public library
Oh, really? In
when I
Minneapolis?
was, when
Oh.
I was growing
you-
up
oh, you
in the
mean-
country in Ohio.
Oh, my gosh.
And I loved to read, but I read the school library books. Yeah.
Interesting. What, are we being recorded?
We are now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, what you say?
Okay.
So I
Shall
think
we?
this might be it. We gotta do some strategizing about how to get the word out more.
What you got?
But we can do that after the.
Well, we could, Suzanne and I emailed for a while.
Yeah.
But then we didn't, so.
Yeah, what is Suzanne? I haven't heard from her. Anyway, so I will do my reading before you get going.
Yeah.
Because I found this whole thing.
The Inclusive Bible.
By
Interesting.
Priests for Equality.
What's that?
By Priests for Equality, and it's beautifully done.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
So should we get started?
Fascinating.
Yeah. Join me in the opening words. In our differences, we may feel separate, yet
We are connected.
in our illness, we may feel broken, yet we are whole. In our isolation, we may feel forgotten, yet
We are loved.
In our disability, we may feel impoverished, yet
We have much to give.
And so we gather here to remember and celebrate the divine source who loves us and makes us whole, and to offer each other support and encouragement.
Comme un enfant au lieu de lumière qui voit passer au loin les oiseaux, comme l'oiseau bleu survolant la terre, voit comme le monde est beau. Beau le bateau dansant sur les vagues, ivre de vie, d'amour et de vent. Belle la chanson, naissante des vagues, abandonnée au sable blanc. Blanc l'innocent, le sang du poète, qui en chantant invente l'amour, pour que la vie s'habille de fête, et que la nuit se change en jour. Jour de vie où l'on se lève pour réveiller la vie aux genoux, pour les matins effeuiller les rêves, pour nous donner un monde d'amour. L'amour c'est toi, l'amour c'est moi. L'enfant c'est moi. Moi je ne suis qu'une fille de l'ombre qui voit briller l'étoile du soir. Toi, mon étoile, qui tissait ma ronde, viens allumer mon soleil noir. Voir la misère et la guerre qui croit tenir les rênes du monde. Et l'amour n'a pas de frontières pour ceux qui ont un cœur d'enfant. Comme un enfant au lieu de lumière qui voit passer au loin les oiseaux. Un oiseau bleu survole la terre, nous trouverons ce monde d'amour. L'amour, c'est toi. L'amour, c'est toi. L'enfant, c'est moi. L'amour, c'est toi. L'amour, c'est moi. L'enfant, c'est toi. L'enfant, c'est moi.
Lovely. Yes.
I printed out the English translation, but I didn't bring it.
Oh,
Oh, did you?
It's really lovely.
It is, the bird and the child.
Yeah, the bird and the child.
Okay.
Okay, so Pat is going to lead us today in some meditations on the practice of Sabbath. And I have one reading from the book of Mark, chapter 2, verse 23 through 28. One Sabbath day, Jesus took a walk through the grain fields, and the disciples began to pick ears of grain as they went along. The Pharisees said to Jesus, "Look, why are they doing something on the Sabbath day that is forbidden?" And Jesus replied, "Did you never read what David did in his time of need when he and his followers were hungry? How David went into the house of God when Abiathar was high priest and ate the loaves of offering, which only the priests are allowed to eat, and how he also gave some to those with him?" Then Jesus said to them, "The Sabbath was made for people, not people for the Sabbath. That is why the chosen one is ruler even of the Sabbath."
Indeed, the Sabbath was made for people.
Yes.
Yes. And my reason for choosing Sabbath for meditation series was that we had all summer at church. The whole summer was dedicated to the theme of Sabbath. And I suspect they thought the summer was a good time. They thought people would stop being busy so much, perhaps, or not. And we had, I think, 4 sermons relevant to the subject. The first one was called "No Time for That." The second one was called "Breathe in Peace, Breathe Out Pride." And then there was one called, this was Karen Herring, "Barefoot on Holy Ground." And I don't know if you know Karen Herring. She was a member of our church and was ordained in our church and is now a Unity Church's literary minister. And I think she probably does it for other Unitarian churches. Am I getting through? Okay. And at the end of her sermon, she said, "Build a Sabbath practice." And of course, the word practice, when you hang around with Buddhists very much, it has to do with meditation. And so I'm really talking about meditation because I am such an idiot. I have way too many commitments, is the word I'm looking for.
Too many
So,
what?
Commitment.
Commitments.
And So, and I'm working on that very hard. So I can't take a whole day off. How can I? How could I? So I take 20 minutes every morning and do serious meditation, and often with a CD I have about drumming, which is just drumming. So it's so important for me. One of our readings, well, I stole Luke's readings from his sermon, which was called Just Take a Breath. and so I'll read this before we start meditating. I seek simplicity of mind by trusting myself. I waste so much energy in self-doubt. I must quit this unending self-doubt, not so much because I'm strong and spiritually together, but because it's simple. I don't have time or energy to go on a roller coaster ride of despair and self-doubt. I seek simplicity of mind by trusting others to take care of themselves. I waste too much energy in codependency, worry about others' troubles, the save the world syndrome. I can clear the mind by not taking on the distractions, worries, fears, and moods of others, letting things pass through, not taking on things that are ours to carry. And that is just a starting message for myself. So what we're going to do is, are you familiar with Lectio Divina? We did it last week. We read, in the case of how it came out of the Catholic Church, it's reading scripture and then having silence and quietly meditating on the scripture or on whatever it may stimulate in your mind. So that's what I'm going to do. And so I just would follow my beginning reading there with something that I've just found recently. It said neuroscientists refer to the brain as an anticipation machine, always scanning our environment, referring to the past, and looking to what might happen in the future. And so the whole Asian Buddhist meditation ambience is living in the moment. And so I would just like to have us live in the moment. Maybe, I don't know how much space we'll see between readings. I have 4 or 5 readings. And we might stop. I was going to pass them around, but there aren't many people here. So, okay. And when, I think I asked Susan to bring the singing bowl because I love that. But I don't know how to use it. So she gave me something I could use. So I'll use it to start after the reading, and then when I had enough silence, stop it and read another. Okay? That's what I think works. Does that make sense? All right. First reading. Every time we take a breath, we become the universe. The very moment of creation is contained in us and passes on to rocks and trees, animals and fish. The old ones say the essence of life is water and wind, earth and breath, fire and bone. But most of all in breath, our first connection to the elk, the hawk, the bear, and the buffalo. Without breath, no connection. Without connection, no creation. Without creation, no breath. This is the sacred circle of life on earth. From Hafiz, Sufi poet, later than Rumi, as I remember, maybe 17th century. He's been called by Coleman Barks, who does the translation of all of the Sufi poets, the bad boy of Sufi poetry. A day of silence can be a pilgrimage in itself. The day of silence can help you listen to the soul play its marvelous lute and drum. Is not most talking a praised defense of a crumbling fort? I thought we came here to surrender in silence, to yield to light and happiness, to dance within celebration of love's victory. had another group of Quaker, wonderful Quaker readings about silence. But I think that in honor of Jim and Norma, I'm going to read one of my favorite of Luke's readings. In honor of everybody. But this, I think, gives a great deal of good message for winter silence. This is entitled Wage Peace by Judith Hill. Wage peace with your breath. Breathe in firemen and rubble. Breathe out whole buildings and flocks of red-winged blackbirds. Breathe in terrorists and breathe out sleeping children in freshly mown fields. Breathe in confusion and breathe out maple trees. Breathe in the fallen and breathe out lifelong friendships intact. Wage peace with your listening. Hearing sirens, pray loud. Remember your tools, flower seeds, clothespins, clean rivers, make soup, play music. Learn the word for thank you in 3 languages. Learn to knit and make a hat. Think of chaos as dancing raspberries. Imagine grief as the outbreath of beauty, or the gesture of fish. Swim for the other side. Wage peace. Never has the world seemed so fresh and precious. Have a cup of tea and rejoice. Act as if an armistice has already arrived. Don't wait another minute. just Tom Glenn with this group.
Yes.
Are you familiar with that
Yes.
term? It's a Buddhist term. And it comes right out of this reading kind of thing. It's breathing in struggles, suffering, whatever. A friend, or the refugees in Syria, out of Syria, or refugees on our streets. Just breathe it in and breathe out love. And that's, basically what this says. Is breathe in firemen and rubble, breathe out whole buildings. And I've got a magazine there that talks all about it. So I thought I'd leave it with you. I wanted that, but it's more detailed than I knew about it. But I do it as part of my meditation. Do you want me to lead? I don't. Iris didn't want to join
We're
me.
gonna have to, well,
We'll just sing it.
yeah, and then it's actually a round, so we can sing it through a couple times, and then we can, break it up into a
Leave
round.
that part of it, because
Yeah.
all I can remember is when I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe out peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. I don't know, shall we keep going then?
Keep going, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
I'll
maybe
start
you do
doing
the other part.
Yeah, I'll do the other part.
When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.
Yeah.
I don't remember it as a round, but anyway.
Oh, yeah, it's in the book there, when they print it out, it's, it just has the parts, and it has the different parts, and,
Oh,
but you can sing it, you can sing it through like this, and it's around, and it's the same principle.
well, it's nice, and my little magazine says, why are you doing that in silence of your apartment, in my case? Why don't you do it on the street when you hear a siren? When I breathe in siren, I breathe out prayer or love or whatever, right on the spot. So I haven't tried that, but it's kind of interesting.
Lovely. Do you have copies?
You're welcome. I can make copies. I've got it on my computer. So, but if I give Jim that one.
Yeah.
But.
Well, I can say, yeah, I can make
It's
copies
just,
too.
I was supposed to talk about how to meditate, but I couldn't believe that you didn't have some feeling for a meditation practice. Did you? Do you breathe about breathing in and breathing out? And, well, it's weird, so I didn't. This. You can have that. And Susan's got it on her computer too.
I do.
So they say who's responsible for them, so. Well,
My favorite Hafiz poem, and I probably won't get it exactly right, but God and I are like two fat people in a boat, always bumping into each other and laughing.
That's why Coleman Mark Stoltz is
Oh,
a bad boy
oh,
at Susan
It's too funny. I
Bolt.
mean.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I just I would love to take a whole day, but it never works. But if I start the day with 20 minutes of that, or if it happens, I use it. When I started meditating years ago, it was very superficial, and I was just using it to calm down, calm my racing brain, my racing bipolar brain. And so then I learned that it could teach you concentration as well, and so that I could use, and so that I've been doing it now. I just really use it as a prayer segment for people. You know, I live in a place where there are 110 elderly people, and there's always one going out on a litter, and another one coming back in a cast, and you know, so we have prayer circles in the morning on Thursday, and asking for prayers, as this group does now. I think we do that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So just came over from the east, all of that, Huffy's and Ruby
Mm-hmm.
and John Gavitt's in. And he's fixing people.
Yeah. Yeah. Mindfulness. Well, thank you, Pat. It's a treat to have someone else lead.
Well, yeah,
Indeed,
so
it
I
really is.
really thought it was sort of, I haven't been with the group very long, so I didn't know that I should not in.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
Someday I'll learn how to use a singing bowl, and someday I'll own one.
Yeah. So this is where we speak our prayer requests. And, I guess prayers for this group and for those of us here that we can do some good strategizing and get the word out and figure out how to get people here who need reminding, apparently. And also prayers for my daughter, who is now in Scotland after quite the grueling trip. And
How long will she be there?
she'll be there for 4 months. Staying with a friend in her closet. It's a big closet. So. And for myself, because I don't do well with the empty nest thing. It's hard for me. I am more of an extrovert, and when I'm home alone, I tend to get depressed. But then I get energy from being around people too, so it's hard for me to actually get out of the house to go be around people so that I'm not depressed. So yeah, anyway.
Circular.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of circular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have two friends that I'm very concerned about for quite a long time. I've been taking them, a mother and a daughter, to court hearings. The mother, because she's trying to get grandmother rights, and the family is tremendously complicated. It started out in with two different judges, two different cases, but it's all about one child. The child is the daughter of a man who comes from Granite Falls with his mother every time there's a hearing. And there have been, I thought there were going to be two. And I thought I was just a chauffeur, and I turned out to be, I'm supposed to be a witness as well. So it's, and I watch really what happens to the children of these not very well blended families. And the center of the issue is my my friend's daughter, who has not, had allowed her to have the grandchildren once a week for years, raising with her, and now refuses to allow it. And she will also not allow the father of the child, who is not now her partner, to have visiting rights. It's just extremely complicated, and the daughter felt that these grandchildren were her family. They're her only family. Now she doesn't have a family, and she doesn't have a sister. There's been all sorts of problems. Anyway, so the central figure, the young mother, didn't show up for the first 3 hearings. I thought I was going to be involved in 2 hearings, and it's now expanded to 4. So when she didn't come, the case was continued, and then finally, the last judge said, let's put them all in one judge, so that we can do some mediation here. And so she showed up for that because she was threatened with arrest if she didn't. So it's hard on my friend, but it's even harder on this 13-year-old that I know very much, whose child, her name is Alana, and whose family has just disappeared, and there are a couple of disabled children, foster children, in the house with her, but that they're not, vibrant and running, playing soccer and tennis, and going to school, bouncing around. Anyway, that's a long story, but Nancy and Alana, that's her name. Oh. You didn't hear that some of the more interesting language that comes out of that Bible. I mean, that was fairly standard stuff in that particular quote. But I think it was last week. Did you read from? I just.
Last time, no, I didn't.
That was an article before, I can't remember. Just wonderful. Look at that scripture.
I didn't have it last time,
Well, it was good.
but, yeah.
I think it's the same one you had before.
I know, I just got this, but I like it. It's,
Oh, you just got it now?
yeah.
Then you were reading from something else, I guess.
But instead of Son of Man, he's the chosen one now. And yeah, I like that. That's well done. Anyway,
I'll have to go back and look at my programs and see, because I'll be able to figure that out.
Well, I guess based on this, I would pray for people to have more of a sense of Sabbath. Yeah, and it brought back 2 memories to me, and how much I'm missing that. And one was actually in my own family and my grandmother, that the Sabbath day was extremely important, to be not doing any work at all. And that was just a given.
Yeah.
That was good. And then the other experience, which I've been missing for a long time, is going away. Like the first time I experienced this was at a Catholic retreat center in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And 3 people in 1 week told me I should go there. So I said, I better do it. And I did, and it was 8 days of essentially silence, except for a little bit of interchange at the supper meal. It was at a Jesuit retreat center, but this particular endeavor was called a prayer house, and there were just like about 8 rooms or something like that. And then I realized how Protestants don't even have any idea how to be silent.
Yeah.
And then when we lived in Pennsylvania, I had a friend, and we would often go to the Catholic retreat center for 3 or 4 days for silent retreats. But I haven't been doing that now for years.
I used to go every year to the big monastery in Lavender.
Oh, yes, uh-huh.
And do that
Uh-huh.
all by myself.
It's amazing what happens. Yeah.
That's true. And I'm not sure I left long enough or left too long during the readings. I didn't really look at my
Oh,
watch.
that's fine, yeah.
Our minister who gave 4 of these 5 summer Sabbath sermons about breathing said, no, it was Karen here. It was not yet Luke. She said, there's research that people nowadays cannot even stand 15 minutes of silence.
Right.
I mean, they're doing, clinical studies, and they're just uncomfortable after about 10 minutes. And it's just, I feel sad. I will send up some meditational prayers
Yeah.
for people who can't do
To
that.
learn how to do it and be willing to try it.
That's what this book, Quiet, said. It said that introverts are people who, not necessarily just not speakers or teachers or whatever, but are people who need to go home and recharge their batteries. And I believe it's the way to go. And that's
I wasn't sure I wanted to move here when we were going to move here because I knew I was going to miss the ocean, which is a great place to go for periods of meditation.
So, any more prayer requests?
I'd pray for Philip again. He really needs a good friend or 2. He had that in Pennsylvania before we came here, and for some reason he hasn't happened here, even though we've been here now quite a few years. So I'd really ask for that.
Are we in support mode yet?
Nope, we're still in prayers.
Remind me. I haven't thought about that.
I would also like prayer for all the people in the world, not just Americans. I was in a Bible study group this morning, and and it was good. They were praying for the 2 people who got beheaded, etc. There are lots of people who have been killed with bombs that we don't hear about, etc. And so I pray for people to have a broader view of the world.
I have a friend, she is Mexican, and her nanny is in Mexico and suffering from the various effects of old age and would want to be taken. And but then it's a general thing. So I'm thinking praying for all beings to be without suffering. That would be And then praying for all beings to be free of that save the world syndrome. That'd be great.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Be free of that save the world syndrome.
Oh,
I have another friend who comes from the Ukraine, and she has relatives in the area that is being bombed. So I see her being drawn into the political conflict with trying to have an opinion and trying to figure out how to save the world, and I don't see it as being very good for her nor for those around her. So that praying for all beings to be free of the save the world syndrome, I think would be
Norma and Jim, I brought last time, one other meeting that you were here, a group of Buddhist sayings that I got from a friend, well, it's this Karen, literary minister. She did a salon, a meditation salon at the Art Institute, and it was during the Sacred Art exhibit there. And they moved one of the bodhisattvas from the main second floor into a darkened room, and they had quiet, over and over sound of saying quietly Buddhist sayings. And I was just thinking, what your prayer? One of the sayings is, may all beings, may our hearts be open, may our minds be spacious. And this whole collection of things, I've got copies of, I've written all over this one, but there are 4 of them that saved me from a serious depression a week ago. Just did save me. So I guess I'll say for praise now.
yeah.
And that danger, which I haven't been in, I've always made the mistake of going high, but I haven't been depressed since 1983, and this was just sharp, deep, and scary. Down to the I'm never going to get out of this. This is never going to go away. Thing. So, but I'm very, very thankful that I had these. I think I told the group what the 4 were. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you'd like one of the copies, we'll see Jim on Monday.
You see Jim.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah. So we do the journey in the closing. Loving God, we thank you for this time together and for each one gathered here. Bless us as we continue our journey of hope in the world. Now we hold each other in the light for a little bit, and then.
And we are in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Come back. The sound of that in this room somehow it just works.
Mm-hmm.
Time to close your eyes, ever stop and listen. And feel alive and nothing missing. You don't need a reason. Let the day go on and on. Let the rain fall down everywhere around you. Give into it now. Let the day surround you. You don't need a reason. let the rain go on and on. What a day to take to. What a way to make it through. What a day to take to a wild child. Only take the time from the helter-skelter. Every day you found everything's in kilter. You don't need a reason. Let the day go on and on. Every summer sun, every winter evening, every spring to come, every autumn evening. You don't need a reason. Let it all go on and on. What a day to take to. What a way to make it through. What a day to take to a wild child. What a day to take to. What a way to make it through. What a day to take to a wild child.
I said to Iris, I said, I like that and it's appropriate, you know, close your eyes and stop and listen and be alive and whatever. But what does it have to do with wild? What does wild child have to do with it? You know, like really crazy out of control little people. But it's more like wild child, like someone who's willing to break the rules, the shoulds, you know, and just kick back and relax. Take a breath.